Hello there, and welcome back to the Unity Code. I'm your host, Nicole Pope, and I have to be honest with you, I did not know that I would be recording this episode today, mainly because I just got back from my retreat where I taught in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. It was amazing. Future podcast episode on it, learned a lot. But I did come back to so many amazing messages about remote viewing this week. And I know I received a few comments in previous weeks about the Halloween experiments and what costume your soul is wearing. And I have to promise you that I have read every single comment, email, message that you have all sent to me. Even if I didn't respond, I'm so sorry. Life is chaotic right now, but I do read every single thing. And I just want to thank all of you for taking the time out to let me know that you're really resonating with the new feeling and energy of this podcast. And you know what? I am too. And this has been a really fun journey for me so far because I didn't know where this was going to take me. And I am absolutely loving that I am not just hitting record on podcasts anymore. I'm not going to just show up and hit record. I'm actually taking the time to learn before I record this with all of you. I want this to be the most value add podcast for all of you. And I think we all learn in different ways. So I think doing the research to understand, for example, that the CIA had a psychic spy program, and then teaching you what remote viewing is, having you actually try it out to prove how you can do this work too. And today I really want to focus on integrating that knowledge a little bit more for you on why remote viewing is so important for everyone, for psychics, for mediums. And so this should feel like the next step to the previous two episodes on remote viewing. And this should hopefully, solidify this content, this idea, this modality for all of you, and taking it out of the lab, taking remote viewing out of the lab and into your everyday life. Because this is not just some cool psychic experiment. It's actually a skill that you can use to navigate your everyday life, make more aligned decisions, strengthen the trust you have with your intuition. And if you've ever wondered, how do I keep doing this? How do I get better at this? This episode is absolutely for you. And how do I know that you can do this? Because I have received incredible messages about how you were able to do this. I'm going to read a few of them. I'm going to keep it anonymous because I didn't ask permission from everybody. I'm so sorry, but I did get a private DM on Instagram where we were talking about the first episode when we were tapping into Mount Kilimanjaro. And this person says, I tried the experiment on your last podcast. It was really interesting because at first I was in my head and I thought beach. And then you said, go down to your heart. And I'm like, okay. And then it got really cold. And then I saw icebergs and it got quiet. And then this person saw blues and grays and boldness, and she was able to tap in that this was essentially the feeling and energy of Mount Kilimanjaro, because if you look at a picture of it, it's huge. It has giant snow caps, right? It's blue and gray, right? And so, and it kind of looks like an iceberg in the middle of the savannah, right? And so I love that. Thank you so much for the person that sent me that message. And then over on YouTube, there were a couple amazing comments as well on the Wednesday episode where we had the two hidden locations. And I'm just, thank you so much, Colin and Lisa, for responding on here. Lisa said, wow, for the first one, which was, again, Yosemite National Park. It was Yosemite, right? Yeah. Apparently I'm still in Mexico, everybody. She got outdoors and green grass and leaves and calm, crisp air, peaceful nature scenery, no people, just nature. Check, she nailed it. And then with the second one, she got warm, hot, like she should be wearing shorts and a tank top. It was hot and sunny and bright. And she could also feel the street and asphalt and hearing cars, right? Check, absolutely yes. The second one was, again, the castle in Puerto Rico, on the point there. So Lisa killed it. Awesome job, Lisa. And then also over there on YouTube, lovely Colin also gave some amazing feedback. So this is what he posted as a comment to the video from Wednesday. Nicole, I was gobsmacked by this video and I wasn't expecting to be. Before you even started to get viewers to hone in on your locations, almost as soon as you started talking, I got a vision of a log cabin by a lake surrounded by huge fir trees and snow covered mountains in the background. And then almost immediately, I got a vision of either a bridge or a freeway overpass. I kind of rejected the second vision, even when you told us the location. And then I looked it up on Google and realized the vision had been very close to the photos of the bridge or the moat crossing leading to the entrance of the castle. I've always dismissed these thoughts I've had like this as just coincidence, but wow. And I think that really hits home for me about the power of this work, right? Because I know one of the people, oh, and somebody else mentioned, I don't know where I read this. This might have been on an Instagram comment as well, but they had mentioned they could see like grass and a field and they could feel like their feet in the grass, right? And so, like, even these little tiny things cue you in on the fact that remote viewing, psychic work is absolutely accessible to everybody. And all I'm doing is giving you an avenue to learn how to tap into your psychic abilities and trust your psychic abilities. And obviously, the energy of our collective Unity Code community, the fact that we are all setting the intention to come in together and do this together, even if it's not exactly at the right or same time, because we're all tapping into this energy at a different time, it doesn't matter because we're all tapping into the energy period and we're setting the intention to tap into the energy together. So time doesn't matter because energy has no time, right? The spirit world does not work time. There is no time on the other side. And so when we're tapping into the energy of it, we're tapping into the energy past, present, future. It doesn't matter because it's all present. Did I just blow your mind up a little bit? I won't go down that rabbit hole too far today. But because we have set the intention to connect to this remote viewing work together, it amplifies our ability to do so. How freaking crazy is that? And so I do want to take a moment here just to say that the more you practice this work, the clearer it gets. So this is where I'm going to shift a little bit into how you can continue to develop these psychic skills for you, especially in terms of remote viewing, because you don't have to be a medium or a psychic or an energy worker to do this. Everyone, as you've seen, can do remote viewing. Everybody can feel energy. So let's talk about some real world cases, some real world uses that anyone can do to bring remote viewing into their life and make it easier. So just a few ideas I have here. Again, if you are planning a trip, obviously I just got back from Mexico. If you were planning a trip, booking a vacation, or maybe a weekend getaway, you can tune into the energy of that location. You can remote view maybe where you want to put your hotel in London and see, is this the vibe that I'm going for? What does it feel like? What do I see? Is it vibrant and busy? Would I rather be in an area that's calm and grounding? Yeah, you could use Google Maps too. I get it. But this allows you to test and build that muscle, that remote viewing psychic muscle, so that it gets stronger and stronger. The same is true when you are house hunting or moving. If you are thinking about moving to a certain area of a city or interested in a certain home, you can view it remotely, either outside in the community, in the neighborhood, or you can actually go inside the house as well. What does it feel like? Are there natural light windows that, really make it feel expansive? Does it feel open or heavy? This can save you time and help you find a space that really supports your energy without having to leave your house, everybody, right? We can talk about lost items. So if you misplace your phone and your keys, pause, close your eyes, and ask, where is the energy of this item? And describe what comes. Does it feel low to the ground? Is it near something soft? Or is it by metal? And you're going to really surprise yourself on where and how easily you can find these lost items because of the description around where the item is located. And if you are anxious about, let's say, a date, an interview, or an event, you can take your time before you get there to remote view the space, right? What does it look like? Are you inside or outside? Are you seated? Are you standing? What's the lighting look like? Really let yourself feel into that energy of the space before you go. And it's like this intuitive dress rehearsal that can calm your system and help you show up more grounded than if you just showed up and you weren't oriented to the space at all. And for the last one, I'm going to say for true crime lovers, this one is for you. Because if you're obsessed with these mysteries and these documentaries, is this still a thing? I don't know. I'm not a true crime person, but I have some friends that are still obsessed with it. So I'm going to think it's still a thing. You can actually practice this real time while you're watching these shows, while you're listening to these podcasts. Because before the big reveal, before they tell you where this is located, why don't you pause it? Why don't you tap into the energy of the location of the story that you're hearing? Why don't you see if you can find out more about the location of the crime, of maybe where they're living, what's the circumstances, what's the energy? Is it in the city? Is it in the woods? Is it summer, winter, right? Is it indoors or outdoors? Feel into the emotional tone of the location, and you can actually do a little bit of psychic investigation work to see, like, am I feeling fear? Am I feeling confusion? Right? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling anger? And again, this isn't about getting it right 100% of the time. This is about training your intuition so that you learn to listen to it before your logic has a chance to take over. You can do this with literally any mystery-based shows, reality competitions, documentaries, even the news. And don't get attached to being perfect. Just get curious about what your body tells you first. One last way you can kind of practice as well is that you can, I love this because this actually came in a DM on a different platform. You can have a friend help you with this. So if you have a friend that maybe works in an office building, or if they're going on vacation, like if you wanted to tap into where I stayed in Mexico, pick a random spot like a cafe, a hotel, a park, and ask them not to tell you where it is, and then tune in and describe what you sense. And then ask them, be like, hey, what does your office look like? Hey, what did your hotel look like? And see if you can validate some of the things that you found. And so this is more about turning it into a game instead of pressure. And does not sound like a lot of fun. For those of you that are a little more advanced, so for those of you that are psychics, or that you're working on your intuition, you can actually help use this to expand your clairvoyant abilities, and or probably your other clairs as well. I know I speak most about remote viewing as a visual aspect, but I know that there's a percentage of the population who can't see in their head. I know there's a medical term for that. So however you want to do this, but you can actually use this to amplify the strength of your clairs, particularly clairvoyant, if you are using your clairvoyance, your clear seeing, to view these remote locations. So for example, you can, if you have a tarot deck or you have an oracle deck, you can actually shuffle the deck and, select a card, leave it face down, don't look at the card yet, and then tap into the energy of the card and say, what am I feeling on the other side? So you're doing quote unquote remote viewing, but you're being very specific about, I want to see and experience what's going on in this card. What's the color? What's the feeling? Don't just guess the name of what tarot card it could be. Tune into the energy, tune into the color, tune into the message. Because that's going to allow you to strengthen that psychic connection before your mind jumps in. What you can do as well is, before reading, you can tune into your client's energy field if you have clients, or your practice sitter's energy field, and you can figure out, where their attention is. Are they thinking about work? Are they thinking about being home? Have they eaten yet, for example? Are they hungry? How does their body feel? And that will help you start the session kind of knowing what the baseline of your clients are, so that you can address that immediately and realize, oh, wow, they've had a really busy morning. They haven't had a chance to eat yet. And you can give them time to settle into the energy of the space, versus are they ready and raring to go? And I don't need to spend my time in that way. Pretty cool, huh? Another thing that you can absolutely do, and I love this idea so much, so I think I'm going to do it too. I haven't done it yet, but I know it's possible. And so I think I'm going to set some time aside in my calendar. But what you can do is you can practice reading famous sites. You can literally set the intention of, I want to go to Stonehenge. So I'm going to set my intention. I'm going to send my energy and my remote viewing abilities to Stonehenge, and I'm going to see what it feels like, right? I'm going to see what it looks like maybe at the winter solstice, in the summer solstice. What does the energy feel like? How are the people there? What does it look like and feel like when everybody's gone home? Now, go to Sedona in Arizona. What does that place feel like? Is there a particular mountaintop or range in Sedona that you find yourself on top of? What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does the view look like? Can you go and find that on a map somewhere? How about Machu Picchu? Right? Compare what you are feeling, experiencing, knowing, seeing, and validate that later on through Google or through pictures and see how right and on you were. And so you're going to start, the more and more that you practice, my psychics, my intuitive practitioners, the more that you practice, the more you're going to start noticing when it's accurate and when it's not accurate. And one of my favorite mentors, who was my business coach, actually told me is being an entrepreneur is so interesting because it's like putting a pen on a massive table, closing your eyes and trying to find it. And so what you're doing with this remote viewing work is you are closing your eyes and trying to find it. And sometimes you're not going to find that pen. Sometimes it's going to be wrong, but you know that every time you get it wrong, you know that's not the right way to do this. And so it's just like, is it Thomas Edison? How many times do you have to fail before you get it right? Because the people who get it right, the people that win, the people that are good at this work are just very used to failing, and they're used to noticing their patterns when they're inaccurate versus when they're accurate, and leaning into that learning to increase their accuracy and staying away from the things that they know they're inaccurate about. Pretty rad, huh? I wish we could all just show up to this work and be 100% accurate all the time. Wouldn't that just be easier, everybody? I'd probably be out of a job by then, because then everybody would be accurate, right? I digress. Now, for my mediums, this is where remote viewing becomes really, really, really evidential. Because when you connect with spirit, you can now ask them to take you somewhere. You can ask them to take them to their home. Where did they live? Where was their home base? What did their house look like? Were they near a park? Were they near a river? Were they near an ocean? Look around in their yard. What did the yard look like? Did they have a garage? Was it a 2-story colonial house? Bring you into the garage. Did they have a workshop that they spent their time in? Right? What does their grass look like? Is it well tended? Right? Is it cut or is it overgrown? Have them bring you into their house. Walk through the front door. Go on a little tour. As you walk in the door, this is exactly how I do house readings, by the way. I walk in the front door, because house readings are remote viewing. Walk into the front door. What room are you in? Are you in the hallway? Are you in a kitchen? If you look left, what room is that? What color is the floor? Is there a carpet? Is there wood? What color is the walls? What's in the room? Walk through that room. Are you now in the dining room? Right? And so you can actually literally see the layout of houses. And you can walk through, I mean, what kind of evidence are you going to pick up when you do that, right? You're going to be able to pick up on the favorite used chair in the corner. You're going to be able to pick up the smell of the cigars, right? You're going to be able to pick up on, the fact that everything in the kitchen, everything is old and outdated and very well loved, but still functional, right? Maybe you go upstairs and you can go rifle through the attic and see the old football trophies that grandpa used to have because he used to be a football star in high school. Right? There are no limits to evidence when you start incorporating remote viewing within the mediumship. Because it's one thing to, again, use the obituary checklist to say, it's grandpa, he died at 82, he lived in Brooklyn, right? He died from a broken heart because his wife had died 5 years earlier. Like, that's great. That is fantastic evidence from an obituary checklist perspective. But that doesn't bring you the essence of the person. You can't talk about how they always kept their shade shut and that, there were cigarettes in the ashtrays that were overflowing, right? And there was a bottle of bourbon on top of the fridge. Like that is the stuff that you can't Google. That is the stuff that you can't find on the obituary checklist. And this is the evidence that a lot of my clients, your clients, skeptical clients are looking for, because nowadays it's so easy to Google so much stuff. You're essentially walking through their memories using remote viewing. So amazing. Like it's so amazing when it happens too. And I would also say you can, do the same thing, mediums, with what are they doing now that they're in the afterlife? What are they doing now that they're in the spirit world? Have them show you around. What does it look like? What are they doing? How does it feel? Because 9 times out of 10, my clients want to know that their person is okay on the other side. And it's always this fun little peek into, well, what are they doing on the other side? I mean, I know they're with me and they're watching over me, but what did they do? How did they spend their time? And I think this is one of my favorite practices because it really just opens up and strengthens not only the connection between you and the spirit, but also your clients and their departed loved ones. It gives them a view into continuing the connection between the life they lived and the current version, the current path, the current hobbies they have now that they're in the spirit world and are not limited to our earthly realm. And it's so freaking cool to hear and experience that. And so, as you can probably tell, remote viewing is definitely one of my favorite practices within the mediumship space. And you can absolutely practice in your circles with your clients with remote viewing and compare what you get, right? See if it fits. Have the client, have the person you're partnered with send you pictures, show you what the house looked like, because it's such a fun validation exercise that really expands how spirit can communicate to you and allow you to deliver and immerse yourself in the energy of these places that they lived and loved for so long. And so hopefully by now you can tell that the best part about remote viewing is that you can practice this literally anytime, anywhere. You can take 5 minutes a day, pick something random or a random location and tap into it and see what you get. Before, watching a YouTube video, like pause the thumbnail and sense the energy and see, what am I getting? What am I supposed to be getting? Like what's coming up? You can text a friend and say, hide something in your house and tell me when you're ready and I'll tune it in. And make sure you're recording those impressions before you check the results, because even the littlest detail you might forget as you're seeing the results. So that's why I always write it down first. And you're going to, again, learn to recognize your intuition, your yeses versus your imagination. So again, the key takeaway here is that remote viewing is not reserved for psychic spies or advanced intuitives. It really is accessible to everybody, and it's this doorway to your own psychic self-trust. It's how you build confidence with your own inner guidance, and it's one of the most fun and, honest to God, easy ways to develop your intuition and incorporate it into your daily life. And so this weekend, just try once, just taking a moment to settle in and do a remote viewing. Think about, major cities and see what you can tap into and what's uncovered. Think about, Lyon in France, or think about, the Highlands in Scotland, and see if you can tap into the energy and the vision. Keep it playful, keep it curious, and just continue to engage and share your results with me. I love to hear how you're receiving this podcast, if these exercises are hitting with you, and I love to hear people discovering their own fucking power, because that's what you are. You are a powerful, badass person, and I'm so grateful for you listening to this and being in the Unity Code Collective. And I can't wait to see how amazed you're going to be when you sharpen that inner lens and you just keep showing up. So until next time, I want to send you all the love, and I want you to stay curious, stay connected, and keep exploring the code that unites us all. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I'm going to see you next week when I'm going to talk all about trust and my trip to Puerto Vallarta. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the next few episodes.